Who are you, and where do your beliefs reside? Do they reside in religion, in a form of spirituality, astronomy? Well, not astronomy, I'm thinking about the other thing. Astrology. Yeah, they're not the same at all. Like, where do your beliefs reside? Because I feel like people's beliefs generally reside in like one of these big threes. Even if it's tarot, you know, there's so many systems out there, and these systems essentially dictate the way that you see life. They basically give you like a set of glasses that manipulates the world around you to fit within the lens of whatever glasses that you're wearing. And whether that be religion, a spiritual sort of ideology, or even like an astrological way of thinking, like through like Cancer, Gemini, and all that sort of good stuff. The reason that I'm asking that question is because of the fact that like you are in between all of that. Like you aren't just a religious person. You know, you're not just a spiritual figure. Like, you are the balance between those things. You are the essence through those things. You are essentially the thing that each one of those systems are trying to diagnose. And experience is the expression of that energy. Consistently and constantly, like, the energies of life are always trying to be explained and portrayed in a certain lens. And I feel like if you tie yourself down to one of these ideologies, then you are in the possibility of essentially losing a part of yourself that is a lot more eternal, that is a lot more divine. And I don't think you could ever lose that part of yourself, ever. But when you put like all of your eggs into one basket, you kind of just like stop even trying to understand yourself or understand life, because someone has already given you all of the answers. But what are your answers? You know, what is your personal method? Like, what's your personal perspective of life? Like, being Muslim, that's like, it's like a system that like 1 billion or so people, I think there's about 1 billion Muslims, have essentially integrated into their life in order to attain a higher life, essentially in the afterlife. And that's like one size fits all. Do you know what I mean? That's just like one size fits all. That's like a hoodie that just fits every, like 1 billion people, and everyone's like, yep, this is the hoodie for me. And that's okay. Like, that is completely okay. I'm not looking down upon that. It's more so just like, I don't know, for me it's almost like, I hate to say it, but I see it as almost like boring. Because then if I know that someone else has just given me all of the answers, it's like, it leaves no room for exploration. It leaves no room for you growing to understand the world through your own lens, through your own personal perspective. You're learning about the truth of the world through the completely defined and already created perspective. And there's no like if, ands or buts. There's no sort of like interpretations. It's either one way or the other. And I know they have their hadiths, which are the interpretations, and that's also completely okay. But those interpretations can only go so far. But that's the fun of life. That's the fun of like researching these different methods of thinking and these systems, is because you can kind of like, you can grasp what you know. You can kind of like take what you know, take what you agree with, and carry on moving. Because I feel like each one of these systems, religions, philosophies, spiritualities, is kind of like, I don't think like any of them are absolutely correct. I think that each one of them plays a major part of the grand truth. I feel like each one of them communicate a certain energy or a certain perspective that the others can't, or that the others can't encapsulate like the others do. Like, say for example, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, the Abrahamics, they communicate a side of life that Buddhism, Hinduism don't, and vice versa. Like, they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. So does like every argument. So then you're learning every argument and building your own argument, you know, because each one of those systems are just systems created by a set of other people or a person that have essentially experienced life and then have created a system that then they can relate to other people and say, yo, I'm learning this about life, here you go. That's what I'm doing right now. But the difference is that I'm not trying to create a religion out of it. I just know that it's my own point of view, and people can agree with it or not. That's, again, the same applies to every single other religion. Like, people can agree with those religions or not. It's just, I think it's fun, you know. It's fun to be able to have your own theory, because like you can constantly tinker with it, you can constantly adjust it, you can constantly grow it and progress it and have off branches, and tie it into the real world as well. Like, I think that there is a truth or system, like, say for example, the truth of gravity, and even then it's subjective, it's relative to our world. Like, truth is relative and subjective to our world. Like, say for example, you could say that the grass is green, but like, what colour is the grass to someone who is colourblind? It's relative. Truth is relative. So then, if you're going off building your truth over something that is completely and utterly objective and based off of almost like let's go back to religion. Like, religions are essentially geographically created, so they would be more geographically relevant to the people that were around the area of whoever created it or whoever conceived it or whoever first started speaking about it. Is probably going to be more relevant to not just the geography of the time, but the time itself. Like, when did it happen? The literal time of whenever the religion was brought into existence, essentially. So if it's specifically relevant to them, man, and those people in those sorts of times and worlds, then how are you going to use that to then structure yourself in this world and in this time with these people that we're surrounded by, with our sorts of modern systems? And this is where I think that you can take from those systems, from those methods of thinking, because there are timeless truths. There are like things that they speak about that actually are just like a timeless truth. Like, human nature is something that just is human nature, and it can grow, it can adapt, but over the years it's roughly stayed the same. Like, if you go to 1,000 years ago, actually, I'd take that statement back. Our attitudes do change, and I think that's one of the most important things of crafting your own personal identities, because times do change, attitudes do change. Like 60 years ago, like in the past 100 years, slavery was still a thing. Like that, and that's just 100 years. Like there was literal countries and continents that were actively trading humans and slaves. But then you could also argue that modern slavery, like people buy other people, like we still have a price on our heads, like our salary, you know. But then I think slavery is on the other end of that spectrum. Like people are kind of like working without their consent for no money at all, and that's like the negative end of the spectrum. And then the positive end, the other end of the spectrum, is like Cristiano Ronaldo getting paid 200 million a year to play for a team in Saudi. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's like the other end. Like they're just two different prices, because I think that there's always like energetic exchange, and that energetic exchange is always going to be quantified in our current existence. But I digress. I think I kind of went off topic there. But I know there would have been a logical point of view that I was leading to. But essentially, what is your perspective? What is your point of view? How are you crafting that? Like, what are you basing it off of? Yes, I remember what I was saying. Like, based off the time and the place and the literal sort of like culture of the society, like stuff changes. So you can't just base all of your truths on like one thing, like on one system, on one way of thinking, because that method of thinking might have been given birth to you for other circumstances. So you kind of have to do your own due diligence to craft your own way of thinking, because like we live in a world where there's so many different systems, there's so many different like jobs, there's so many different ways to get it, there's so many different ways to become successful. Like we can't just put all of our eggs into one basket and just trust that a system created 2,000 years ago is going to help us to thrive in today's society, because if it did, then we wouldn't have the world that we have right now. Like, yes, we have progressed, but then we have also like kind of gone downhill as well. Like, we've not just completely progressed. Now we have systems where people can just pig out and just sit at home and do absolutely nothing. Like back in the days, you couldn't do absolutely nothing. You had to provide for the community. And now we have like hundreds and thousands of millions of people just doing nothing, like actually contributing nothing to society, like at all. And that's a viable path because we've made it be. It's good to relax, but that relaxation is kind of tipped too far. Like we're gonna have a population like Wall-E soon, just like sat down doing nothing, obese as hell, just on chairs, on computers, having everything ordered to them, served by these robots. Like, and that's low-key happening right now. So this is why you have to find your own balance, you know, find your personal truth and trust it. Trust in yourself, you know, trust in your point of view, trust in your way of thinking. Like, not just stupidly trusting, not blindly trusting, not blind faith. Like, accept where you might not know something, you know, accept that you might not understand something, and that's okay. Like, that will be able to, that vulnerability will allow you to learn so much more. Because if you say, oh yeah, no, I know that, if someone asks you, do you know the meaning of life, and you just go yes, and say if that person genuinely had the absolute meaning of life, yeah, you said yes, I do, they were like, oh well, you do, you understand, that's cool, that's fine, I'm not going to share with you then what it is that I know. because you know it. Why would I share something that you and I both know? And I'm not saying that there's one absolute meaning of life, because I think that idea is quite preposterous. That person could just be like, actually, no, I'm not going to share what I know with you, because you know it. Through the idea of you knowing something. That's also ego. But I could go on and on and on and on. What I want to conclude with is, like, through any sort of system of thinking, through any sort of ideology, capitalism, communism, any sort of religion like Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, any sort of spirituality, any sort of method of thinking, like, you sit between all of that. Like, your essence is deeper than all of that, and each and every single one of those things are only words to try to define your existence, which is infinitely worth more than anything, because it is just pure experience. And outside of that, if we are talking about defining that experience, then only you can satisfy your soul's search of understanding the truth. And I think you can become satisfied by accepting another person's truth or another system's truth, but will you truly understand it for your own self? Will you truly understand what it is that the world wants you to know, that the world wants to communicate with you? Will you truly understand Mother Nature in the way that she wants to be understood, versus the way that you have been told to understand her, to understand it, to understand life? Because remember, even this video, I'm trying to share with you an idea, and in every other aspect, everyone is trying to share ideas. So unless that you have your own structure of morals, of your own structure of philosophy and ethics that is based off of other morals, other ethics, and other viewpoints of the world, then that's when you're going to have such a powerful point of view. And not powerful in the current societal sort of point of view, in a sense of as actual physical power, but I'm talking about individual self-knowledge sort of power, like the power that you can actually remain calm in situations where everybody's going crazy, but because you have an understanding of life that is actually a lot more balanced and laid back, that you can actually be calm in that situation because of the fact that you understand life through a way that doesn't allow you to just rely on the perspectives of thousands of other people, because you have grown your own understanding of life. And I'm still saying that you could do that by researching other points of view, but by having trust in your own growing point of view. Bless. Have a lovely day, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.